Welcome to Stoic Vivu, where we bring the transformative wisdom of ancient Stoic philosophy directly into your modern life. Our mission is simple: to help you build unshakable inner strength and create meaningful relationships using the time-tested principles that guided emperors, philosophers, and leaders for over 2,000 years. Imagine you're scrolling through your phone, feeling overwhelmed by the drama in your friend group, frustrated with a difficult coworker, or struggling to connect with someone you care about. You're not alone in wondering, how do some people seem to navigate relationships so effortlessly while others constantly feel drained by the people around them? Here's what the ancient Stoics discovered that changes everything. The secret to mastering relationships isn't about changing other people, controlling their behavior, or avoiding difficult situations altogether. Instead, it's about developing such strong character and clear principles within yourself that you become magnetic to the right people and completely unshakable around the wrong ones. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the most powerful empire in human history, while dealing with betrayals, political enemies, and family challenges, wrote extensively about this very struggle. In his personal journal, which we now call Meditations, he revealed the exact mental practices that allowed him to lead with both strength and compassion, to maintain loving relationships despite constant disappointments, and to create lasting influence without ever having to force or manipulate anyone. Consider this profound truth that Aurelius discovered. Your relationships are not separate from your personal growth. They are the very arena where your character gets tested, refined, and ultimately revealed. Every interaction you have, from the barista who makes your morning coffee to your most challenging family member, becomes an opportunity to practice the virtues that create genuine connection and inner peace. Today, you're going to learn the 9 essential relationship principles that transformed not just Marcus Aurelius, but countless others who applied these teachings throughout history. These aren't feel-good platitudes or temporary techniques. They're battle-tested strategies that work in boardrooms and bedrooms, with strangers and soulmates, in moments of conflict and seasons of harmony. You'll discover why being strict with yourself actually makes you more compassionate toward others, how a 5-minute morning practice can fundamentally shift how you see every person you encounter, and why the Stoics believed that caring for complete strangers was the key to your own happiness and fulfillment. Most importantly, you'll learn the liberating truth that once you master your own responses and choices, you'll never again feel powerless in any relationship. You'll stop trying to control what others think, say, or do, and instead focus your energy on becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts respect, trust, and genuine affection. This isn't about becoming emotionally distant or building walls around your heart. The Stoics understood that life's greatest joys and deepest meaning come through our connections with other human beings. They simply discovered a way to love more deeply, lead more effectively, and contribute more meaningfully by first mastering themselves. Ready to transform how you approach every relationship in your life? Let's begin with the foundational principle that changes everything. 1. How to be tough on yourself while staying kind to everyone else. You're sitting in a team meeting when your colleague takes credit for your idea. Your blood pressure rises, your jaw clenches, and every fiber of your being wants to call them out right there in front of everyone. You feel that familiar surge of righteous anger, the desire to set the record straight, to make them pay for their dishonesty. But then you remember something Marcus Aurelius wrote nearly 2,000 years ago. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. This single principle, when properly understood and applied, will revolutionize every relationship in your life. But here's what most people get wrong about this teaching. They think it means being a pushover with others while being harsh and self-critical. That's not what the Stoics meant at all. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who faced betrayals, political intrigue, and constant challenges to his authority, discovered something profound about human nature. He realized that the energy you spend trying to control, judge, or change other people is energy stolen from the only project that actually works, becoming the kind of person whose character speaks louder than any words ever could. When Aurelius wrote about being strict with yourself, he wasn't advocating for self-punishment or negative self-talk. He was describing the disciplined pursuit of virtue, the relentless commitment to becoming better today than you were yesterday. This strictness meant holding himself to the highest standards of justice, courage, wisdom, and self-control, regardless of how others behaved around him. Let's say you're dealing with a chronically late friend who always keeps you waiting. The non-Stoic approach involves two equally destructive paths. Either you explode at them, damaging the relationship, or you internalize the frustration, building resentment over time. The Stoic approach follows Marcus's principle perfectly. First, you get strict with yourself. You ask, what can I control in this situation? You can control your response, your expectations, and your choices. You can choose to bring a book when meeting this friend, knowing they'll likely be late. You can decide whether this friendship brings enough value to accept this flaw, or whether you need to limit your interactions. You take full responsibility for your own experience without trying to change them. But notice what happens next. And this is where the magic occurs. When you stop wasting energy on frustration and blame, when you stop trying to control their punctuality, you actually become more genuinely kind toward them. Your tolerance isn't fake politeness or passive aggression. It's the natural result of taking complete ownership of your own emotional state. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, explained this beautifully when he wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. When you end your attempts to control others, you begin to access a deeper well of genuine compassion. You start seeing their flaws not as personal attacks against you, but as their own struggles with virtue, just like the struggles you face every day." This is why Marcus could write in his meditations about forgiving those who wronged him, even while maintaining firm boundaries and making difficult leadership decisions. His kindness toward others wasn't a weakness. It was the overflow of his inner strength. His tolerance wasn't permissiveness. It was the natural result of focusing his energy where it could actually create change within himself. The practical application of this principle transforms your daily interactions completely. When your teenager talks back to you, instead of escalating the conflict, you first get strict with yourself. Am I modeling the respect I want to see? Am I responding from wisdom or wounded pride? This internal discipline gives you the space to respond with both firmness and love. When your boss takes a harsh tone in an email, before firing back a defensive response, you apply the principle. What standard am I holding myself to in this moment? How can I respond in a way that reflects my values, regardless of their behavior? This isn't about being a doormat, it's about responding from strength rather than reacting from emotion. Marcus Aurelius faced the ultimate test of this principle when his most trusted general, Avidius Cassius, betrayed him and declared himself emperor. Instead of responding with rage or revenge, Marcus demonstrated what it means to be strict with yourself and tolerant with others. He prepared to march against the rebellion not out of personal anger, but out of duty to the empire. When Cassius was killed by his own men before they could meet in battle, Marcus showed mercy to the fallen general's family and followers. This wasn't weakness or naivety on Marcus's part. He understood that Cassius was acting from his own flawed understanding, his own struggles with ambition and fear. Marcus's strictness with himself meant doing his duty as emperor while maintaining his integrity. His tolerance meant not allowing personal betrayal to corrupt his character or his judgment. Here's the profound truth the Stoics discovered. When you become truly strict with yourself, holding yourself to high standards of virtue regardless of others' behavior, you naturally become more tolerant of others' imperfections. You stop taking their actions personally because you're too busy focusing on your own growth and responsibilities. This creates a powerful cycle. Your inner discipline generates genuine outer kindness. That kindness, because it's not dependent on others' behavior, becomes a source of strength and influence. People are drawn to those who seem unshakable, who respond with both firmness and grace, who clearly have high standards but don't use those standards as weapons against others. The result is that you become the kind of person others want to be around, the kind of person they trust and respect. Not because you're perfect, but because you're committed to becoming better, and that commitment makes you both strong enough to stand firm and secure enough to show genuine compassion. Ultimately, this principle teaches us that the path to better relationships runs directly through better character. When you master the art of being strict with yourself while remaining kind to others, you discover the secret that eluded Marcus's enemies but made him one of history's most beloved leaders. True power comes from inner discipline, and true influence flows from genuine care for others' well-being. 2. The 5-minute morning practice that connects you to all humanity. You wake up Monday morning and immediately grab your phone. Within seconds, you're scrolling through social media, absorbing complaints, political arguments, and carefully curated highlights from other people's lives. By the time you get out of bed, you already feel disconnected, comparative, and slightly overwhelmed by the world around you. You head to work feeling like you're facing the day alone, surrounded by strangers who don't understand you and obstacles that seem designed to frustrate you. But what if those first 5 minutes of your day could completely transform how you see every person you encounter? What if a simple practice, developed by Marcus Aurelius himself, could help you feel genuinely connected to the cashier at the grocery store, the difficult coworker in the next cubicle, and even the aggressive driver who cuts you off in traffic? Marcus Aurelius called this concept sympathia, the fundamental interconnectedness of all things. But this wasn't just philosophical theory for him. It was a daily practice that shaped how he led an empire and navigated the complexities of human relationships. Every morning, before dealing with senators, generals, and citizens, Marcus would spend time meditating on this profound truth. We are all part of one enormous organism, and what affects one part affects the whole. Think of it this way. Imagine you're looking at a massive oak tree in autumn. You see thousands of individual leaves, each one unique in its shape, color, and position. From a distance, they might seem completely separate from each other. But zoom out further, and you realize they're all connected to the same branches, drawing from the same trunk, sustained by the same root system. What nourishes one leaf nourishes them all. What threatens the tree threatens every leaf, regardless of how beautiful or perfectly positioned that individual leaf might be. This is exactly how Marcus Aurelius taught himself to see humanity. In his meditations, He wrote about imagining himself running alongside the stars at night, visualizing all the generations that had ever lived and all those yet to come, and reminding himself that despite our apparent differences, we're all part of this same magnificent whole. Here's how you can practice this life-changing morning meditation. Set your alarm 5 minutes earlier than usual. Before you check your phone, before you start thinking about your to-do list, before you begin planning your day, spend these precious minutes connecting to the larger picture. Start by sitting comfortably and taking 3 deep breaths. Now, bring to mind someone you'll likely encounter today, perhaps a coworker, a family member, or even a stranger like a barista or delivery driver. Instead of thinking about what you need from them or how they might frustrate you, try this revolutionary shift in perspective. Imagine that this person, like you, woke up this morning with hopes and concerns. They have people they love and people who love them. They've experienced disappointment and joy, fear and excitement. They're trying to navigate their own challenges, just as you are. They have the same fundamental needs for respect, understanding, and connection that you do. Now expand this awareness further. Picture your neighborhood, your city, your country, filled with millions of people all starting their days, all carrying their own stories, all part of this incredible human experience that spans across cultures, languages, and generations. Visualize the farmers who grew your breakfast, the engineers who designed the roads you'll travel, the countless workers who make your daily life possible. All of them connected to you in this vast web of interdependence. Marcus Aurelius took this practice even deeper. He would remind himself that the person who might irritate him later that day shared the same fundamental human nature he did. That difficult senator wasn't his enemy. He was a fellow human being struggling with his own limitations, fears, and misunderstandings. The citizen bringing a complaint wasn't a burden. He was part of the same community Marcus was sworn to serve. This morning practice produces profound changes in how you move through your day. When you encounter that chronically negative coworker, instead of seeing them as an obstacle to your happiness, you recognize them as someone caught in their own patterns of thinking. Someone who, like you, is trying to find meaning and satisfaction in their work. This doesn't mean you accept poor behavior or fail to maintain boundaries. It means you respond from a place of understanding rather than irritation. When you're stuck in traffic, instead of seeing other drivers as inconsiderate obstacles to your progress, you realize you're all part of the same system, all trying to get somewhere important to you, all dealing with the same frustrations and time pressures. This shift in perspective doesn't magically eliminate traffic, but it eliminates the anger and stress that make traffic a miserable experience. The beauty of Marcus's sympathia practice is that it works on multiple levels simultaneously. On a practical level, it reduces your daily stress and frustration by helping you see challenging situations from a broader perspective. On an emotional level, it connects you to something larger than your immediate concerns, providing a sense of meaning and belonging that social media scrolling can never deliver. On a relational level, this practice makes you naturally more attractive to others. People are drawn to those who seem to genuinely see and appreciate them, who respond with patience and understanding rather than judgment and irritation. When you start your day by consciously connecting to your shared humanity, you carry that energy into every interaction. But perhaps most importantly, this practice helps you discover what Marcus Aurelius called the common good. The understanding that your individual well-being is intimately connected to the well-being of everyone around you. When you truly grasp that we're all part of the same organism, you naturally begin to care about others' success and happiness, not as a moral obligation, but as an extension of caring for yourself. Consequently, this simple 5-minute morning practice becomes the foundation for every other relationship skill you'll develop. When you start each day remembering your connection to all humanity, you approach every encounter with curiosity rather than defensiveness, with compassion rather than judgment, and with the understanding that everyone you meet is fighting battles you know nothing about. 3. How to prepare for difficult people and never feel frustrated again. You're walking into work on a Tuesday morning, feeling optimistic about the day ahead, when you spot your most challenging colleague heading straight toward you. Your stomach immediately tightens. You know what's coming: the passive-aggressive comments, the subtle undermining, the energy-draining conversation that will leave you feeling frustrated and off balance for hours. You brace yourself, hoping today will be different, but deep down, expecting the same disappointing interaction you've experienced dozens of times before. This scenario plays out millions of times every day across America, in offices and coffee shops, family dinners, and neighborhood gatherings. Most people approach these inevitable encounters with a mixture of hope and dread, crossing their fingers that difficult people will somehow behave differently this time, then feeling shocked and frustrated when they don't. But Marcus Aurelius discovered a revolutionary approach that eliminates this cycle of disappointment entirely. Each morning, before Marcus began his duties as emperor, he would engage in what might seem like a pessimistic exercise. He would remind himself that the people he encountered that day would likely be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But this wasn't pessimism at all. It was the most practical wisdom you can apply to your relationships. Here's the profound insight that changes everything. If you're surprised by difficult behavior from the people around you, that surprise is entirely your fault. You failed to prepare mentally for what human nature consistently delivers. You set yourself up for disappointment by expecting people to act against their established patterns, their current level of understanding, and their existing emotional habits. Think about this principle in terms of weather preparation. You wouldn't leave your house in December wearing shorts and then feel frustrated when you encounter cold temperatures. You check the forecast, dress appropriately, and adjust your expectations based on likely conditions. The Stoics applied this same rational preparation to human interactions. When you know you'll be dealing with someone who has a history of interrupting, complaining, or creating drama, preparing for that behavior isn't negativity, it's intelligence. This preparation serves 3 crucial functions that transform your experience completely. First, it eliminates the emotional shock that typically derails your composure. When someone acts exactly as they've always acted, you're not caught off guard. Your nervous system doesn't spike with stress because you anticipated this possibility. Instead of reacting emotionally, you can respond thoughtfully from the plans you've already made. Consider your most difficult family member. Perhaps they always bring up politics at dinner, always criticize your life choices, or always dominate conversations with their problems. Most people attend family gatherings hoping this person will be different this time, then spend the entire event feeling frustrated and drained. The Stoic approach involves accepting that this person will likely behave exactly as they always have, then planning your responses accordingly. This doesn't mean you become cynical or dismissive. Instead, you become strategically realistic. You might decide to have 3 prepared responses for when they bring up controversial topics. You might plan to limit your conversation time with them, You might choose to focus on other family members who bring more positive energy to your interactions. Second, this preparation often leads to pleasant surprises rather than constant disappointments. When you expect someone to be difficult and they're merely neutral, that feels like a victory. When you prepare for criticism and receive even mild politeness, you feel genuinely grateful. This shift from disappointed expectations to exceeded expectations changes your entire emotional experience of challenging relationships. The third benefit is perhaps the most powerful. Preparation gives you genuine compassion for difficult people. When you truly understand that someone is acting from their current level of emotional development, their learned patterns of behavior, and their own unresolved struggles, you stop taking their actions personally. You begin to see their difficult behavior as a symptom of their own inner turmoil rather than a deliberate attack on your well-being. Marcus Aurelius expressed this beautifully when he wrote that difficult people are like this at dawn today because they are ignorant of good and evil. He wasn't calling them stupid. He was recognizing that their challenging behavior stems from their limited understanding of what actually creates happiness and fulfillment. Someone who gossips, complains constantly, or treats others poorly is revealing their own confusion about how to find genuine satisfaction in life. This understanding transforms how you respond to difficult behavior. Instead of getting defensive or trying to change them, you can respond with the same patience you'd show a confused tourist asking for directions. They're not intentionally trying to ruin your day. They're operating from their current map of reality, even if that map contains significant errors. The practical application of this principle requires developing what Aurelius called morning reflection. Spend a few minutes each day, perhaps during your morning coffee or commute, thinking about the people you'll likely encounter. For those with established patterns of difficult behavior, remind yourself what to expect and plan your responses accordingly. If you know your boss tends to be short-tempered in meetings, prepare mentally for that possibility. Plan to stay calm, ask clarifying questions instead of getting defensive, and focus on solutions rather than problems. If you know your neighbor loves to complain about everything, prepare yourself to listen briefly, acknowledge their feelings, and then redirect the conversation or politely excuse yourself. Essentially, this preparation transforms you from a reactive person into a responsive person. Reactive people get emotionally hijacked by others' behavior because they expected something different. Responsive people maintain their emotional equilibrium because they prepared for reality rather than hoping for fantasy. Building on this point, the next section will explore how the people you choose to spend the most time with shape who you become, and why being selective about your inner circle is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. 4. Choose friends who make you better. The circle that changes everything. You're at a crossroads that will determine the trajectory of your entire life, and you might not even realize it. You're deciding whether to grab coffee with that colleague who always complains about everything, or spend your Saturday evening listening to your friend dissect every drama in their romantic life for the third time this month. These might seem like small, inconsequential social choices, but the ancient Stoics understood something profound about human nature that modern psychology has only recently confirmed. You inevitably become like the people you spend the most time with. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about this principle because he witnessed it playing out constantly in the Roman court. He watched senators adopt the speech patterns, values, and even the moral compromises of their closest associates. He observed how young men of promise could be corrupted by associating with the wrong influences, while others flourished when surrounded by people of virtue and wisdom. This isn't just ancient philosophy, it's observable reality that you can verify in your own life. Think about your closest friends from 5 years ago compared to your closest friends today. Notice how your language, your interests, your goals, and even your problems have shifted to align more closely with theirs. This happens so gradually that you rarely notice it occurring, but its effects are profound and lasting. The mechanism behind this transformation works on multiple levels simultaneously. On the most obvious level, you absorb the conversation topics, attitudes, and perspectives that dominate your social interactions. If your friends constantly discuss financial stress, relationship drama, or workplace complaints, those topics naturally become more prominent in your own thinking. If they regularly engage in gossip, criticism, or negative speculation about others, you'll find yourself participating in and eventually initiating similar conversations. But the influence goes much deeper than surface-level conversation. You unconsciously adopt the standards and expectations of your social circle. If your friends consider it normal to be perpetually stressed about money, you'll likely maintain similar financial anxiety even when your objective circumstances improve. If they view romantic relationships as inherently dramatic and unstable, you'll probably experience more turbulence in your own partnerships. Perhaps most significantly, you begin to mirror the decision-making patterns of your closest associates. If your friends consistently choose immediate pleasure over long-term benefit, you'll find yourself making similar choices. If they avoid difficult conversations, procrastinate on important goals, or settle for mediocrity in their careers, you'll likely develop parallel patterns of avoidance and settling. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher and advisor to emperors, expressed this principle with startling clarity. Nothing will help you more than daily association with a wise person. You need someone to whom you can say everything and who will say everything to you. Notice that Seneca isn't just talking about casual friendships or social entertainment. He's describing the transformative power of intentionally surrounding yourself with people whose character, wisdom, and life choices inspire you to become better. This understanding leads to a crucial question that most people never consciously ask themselves. Are the people closest to you making you more or less likely to become the person you want to be? This isn't about judging your friends' worth as human beings or abandoning people who are going through temporary difficulties. It's about honestly assessing whether your current social environment supports or undermines your growth toward virtue, wisdom, and genuine fulfillment. Consider the practical implications of this principle in your daily life. If you want to develop better physical health, surrounding yourself with friends who prioritize exercise, nutritious eating, and energy management will naturally support that goal. If you want to build financial stability, spending time with people who make thoughtful money decisions, invest wisely, and avoid lifestyle inflation will reinforce those positive patterns in your own behavior. Conversely, if you're trying to overcome negative habits like excessive complaining, impulsive spending, or chronic procrastination, continuing to spend significant time with people who normalize and engage in these behaviors will make your personal transformation exponentially more difficult. The Stoics approached this principle with both wisdom and compassion. They understood that you can't simply abandon everyone in your life who doesn't meet ideal standards. Instead, they advocated for a strategic approach to relationship cultivation that involves expanding your circle to include more inspiring influences while gradually spending less concentrated time with relationships that drain your energy or reinforce negative patterns. This might mean seeking out mentors in areas where you want to grow, joining communities centered around your values and goals, or simply being more intentional about which social invitations you accept and which you politely decline. It definitely means actively looking for people whose character you admire and finding ways to spend more time in their presence. Marcus Aurelius had the advantage of being able to choose his advisors and close associates, but he also understood that even emperors are influenced by the people around them. He deliberately surrounded himself with philosophers, ethical teachers, and individuals whose wisdom and integrity he respected. This wasn't a coincidence or luxury, it was strategic character development. The key insight here is that character development isn't just an individual effort, it's fundamentally social. You can read all the philosophy books and set all the personal goals you want, but if you're surrounded by people who embody different values and standards, those influences will consistently pull you away from your intended growth. Therefore, choosing your inner circle becomes one of the most important strategic decisions you'll ever make. This choice determines not just your happiness and success, but fundamentally who you become as a person, because human beings are inherently social creatures who mirror the attitudes, behaviors, and standards of their closest associates. 5. Why caring for strangers actually makes your own life better. You're standing in line at the grocery store on a busy Friday evening, exhausted from your week, just wanting to get home and relax. The elderly woman in front of you is fumbling with her wallet, counting out exact change while the line grows longer behind you. You feel that familiar irritation rising. Why didn't she prepare her payment beforehand? Why is she holding everyone up? But then something shifts in your perspective, and instead of sighing with impatience, you find yourself offering to help her reach an item she dropped. That small act of kindness doesn't just help her. It transforms your entire evening, leaving you feeling more connected, more purposeful, and genuinely happier than you've felt all week. This transformation isn't a coincidence or wishful thinking. It's the practical application of one of the most powerful principles Marcus Aurelius discovered during his reign as emperor, what he called the common good. But here's what makes this concept revolutionary. Marcus wasn't advocating for charity or selflessness as moral obligations. He was describing a fundamental truth about human psychology that modern research has confirmed. Caring for others' well-being literally enhances your own happiness, health, and life satisfaction in measurable ways. Marcus Aurelius expressed this principle through a simple but profound analogy that appears repeatedly throughout his meditations. He wrote, "What injures the hive injures the bee. What's bad for the hive is bad for the bee. What's bad for the bee is bad for the hive." This wasn't just poetic language, it was Marcus describing his direct experience of how interconnected human well-being actually functions. Think about this analogy more deeply. Individual bees don't survive and thrive by competing against other bees or by hoarding resources for themselves. They flourish by contributing to the health of the entire hive, because their individual well-being is inseparable from the collective well-being. When bees work together to build the hive, protect it from threats, and ensure adequate food storage, each individual bee benefits from living in a thriving, secure environment. Human beings operate according to the same fundamental principle, though our individualistic culture often obscures this reality. When you contribute to the well-being of your community, whether that's your neighborhood, your workplace, or even strangers you encounter throughout your day, you're not depleting your own resources or sacrificing your happiness for others. You're actually creating the conditions that enhance your own life satisfaction and emotional well-being. Consider how this works on the most practical level. When you take a moment to genuinely listen to a coworker who's struggling with a project, you're not just helping them solve their problem. You're building the kind of collaborative workplace environment where others will be more likely to support you when you face challenges. When you help a neighbor carry groceries or shovel snow, you're not just being nice, you're contributing to the kind of community where people look out for each other, which directly benefits your own sense of security and belonging. But the benefits go far beyond these practical reciprocal advantages. Modern neuroscience has discovered that acts of genuine care and service trigger the release of powerful neurochemicals that enhance mood, reduce stress, and promote physical health. When you engage in what researchers call prosocial behavior, actions that benefit others, your brain produces increased levels of dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, the same chemicals associated with falling in love, eating delicious food, or achieving personal goals. This means that caring for others isn't a sacrifice you make despite your own interests. It's one of the most effective ways to directly enhance your own emotional and physical well-being. The person who benefits most from your kindness to a stranger is actually you, because you get to experience the neurochemical rewards of prosocial behavior while also strengthening your sense of purpose and connection. Marcus Aurelius understood this principle so deeply that he made decisions affecting the entire Roman Empire based on what would serve the common good, rather than just his personal interests or even the narrow interests of Roman citizens. He recognized that his own flourishing as a human being was intimately connected to the flourishing of everyone within his sphere of influence, and even those beyond it. This perspective transforms how you approach everyday interactions with people you'll never see again. The barista making your morning coffee, the delivery driver bringing your packages, the maintenance worker cleaning your office building. These aren't just service providers performing functions for your convenience. They're fellow human beings whose well-being is connected to your own well-being in ways you might not immediately recognize. When you treat these interactions as opportunities to contribute positively to someone else's day, through genuine courtesy, patience, or even just authentic acknowledgement of their humanity, you're not just being nice. You're participating in the creation of a social environment where people treat each other with respect and consideration, which ultimately makes your own daily experience more pleasant and meaningful. The practical application of this principle starts with a fundamental shift in how you view your relationship with strangers and acquaintances. Instead of seeing them as obstacles to your efficiency or irrelevant background characters in your personal story, begin seeing them as fellow participants in this shared human experience, people whose day could be brightened by your consideration and whose own well-being contributes to the overall quality of the community you live in. In essence, caring for strangers isn't altruism, it's enlightened self-interest. When you contribute to creating a world where people are kinder, more patient, and more considerate toward each other, you get to live in that world. Every act of genuine care you extend creates ripple effects that ultimately return to enhance your own experience of being human. This understanding leads naturally to recognizing how to distinguish between genuine relationships and those that drain your energy and compromise your well-being, which is precisely what we'll explore next. 6. How to spot fake friends before they hurt you. You're excitedly sharing news about a promotion you just received when you notice something subtle but unmistakable in your friend's response. Their smile seems forced, their congratulations feel hollow, and within minutes they've redirected the conversation to their own struggles at work. You walk away from the interaction feeling deflated rather than celebrated, confused about why sharing good news with someone you trust left you feeling worse instead of better. This scenario reveals one of the most painful realities of human relationships. Not everyone who appears to be your friend actually has your best interests at heart. Marcus Aurelius learned this lesson in the most devastating way possible. Avidius Cassius, one of his most trusted generals and closest confidants, betrayed him by declaring himself emperor and attempting to orchestrate a military coup. This wasn't just political betrayal, it was personal devastation from someone Marcus had considered a true friend. Yet rather than becoming cynical about all relationships, Marcus used this experience to develop sophisticated wisdom about distinguishing genuine friendship from its dangerous counterfeits. The emperor wrote in his meditations that nothing is more painful, nothing is worse than false friendship, and he meant this literally. False friends inflict unique damage because they operate from within your circle of trust. They have access to your vulnerabilities, your hopes, and your private thoughts, which they can use against you in ways that strangers never could. Understanding how to identify these relationships before they cause significant harm becomes essential for protecting both your emotional well-being and your personal growth. The first crucial indicator of false friendship appears in how someone responds to your successes and good fortune. Genuine friends experience what psychologists call empathetic joy. They feel genuinely happy when good things happen to you because they care about your well-being. False friends, however, struggle with your successes because they're fundamentally competing with you rather than supporting you. Watch carefully how people react when you share positive news. Do they ask follow-up questions about your promotion, showing genuine interest in your experience? Do they remember important details about your achievements in future conversations? Or do they quickly change the subject, minimize your accomplishments, or immediately shift focus to their own challenges? These responses reveal whether someone sees your success as something to celebrate or as a threat to their own status and self-image. The second revealing pattern involves how someone treats you during your difficulties and vulnerabilities. True friends become more present and supportive when you're struggling, offering practical help, emotional support, or simply reliable companionship during tough times. False friends, conversely, often become less available when you need them most, because supporting you requires effort and emotional investment they're unwilling to make. Pay attention to who shows up when you're dealing with job loss, relationship problems, health challenges, or family crises. Notice who offers concrete help versus who offers only empty platitudes. Observe who continues checking in on you weeks or months later versus who disappears once the immediate drama subsides. These patterns reveal whether someone values you as a person or simply enjoys the entertainment value of your problems. The third diagnostic involves examining the balance of give and take in your interactions. Healthy friendships involve natural reciprocity. Sometimes you provide more support, sometimes they do, but over time there's a general balance of mutual care and investment. False friends create relationships that consistently drain your energy while providing little genuine support in return. Consider whether your conversations with this person typically focus on their problems, their interests, and their needs with minimal curiosity about your life and experiences. Notice whether they contact you primarily when they need something, emotional support, practical help, or social connection, but remain unavailable when you could use similar assistance. This pattern indicates someone who views you as a resource to be utilized rather than a person to be valued. Marcus Aurelius developed a particularly insightful perspective on this dynamic. He recognized that false friends often reveal themselves through their inability to genuinely wish you well. Someone who truly cares about your well-being wants you to thrive even when your thriving doesn't directly benefit them. Someone who's using you for their own purposes will subtly undermine your confidence, discourage your growth, or create drama that keeps you focused on managing relationship problems rather than pursuing your own goals. The fourth warning sign involves observing how someone treats other people in your presence. False friends often engage in excessive gossip, harsh criticism of mutual acquaintances, or casual cruelty toward those they perceive as having less social value. This behavior reveals their character more clearly than how they treat you directly, because you're seeing how they behave when they think there are no consequences for their actions. Someone who consistently speaks negatively about others when they're not present will almost certainly speak negatively about you in similar circumstances. Someone who shows little empathy for others' struggles or mistakes will likely show you the same lack of compassion when you face difficulties or make errors in judgment. Ultimately, the most reliable method for identifying false friendship involves trusting your intuitive responses to how you feel after spending time with someone. Genuine friendships leave you feeling energized, valued, and more confident about yourself and your life. False friendships consistently leave you feeling drained, insecure, or somehow diminished, even when the surface-level interactions seemed pleasant. Clearly, then, protecting yourself from false friends isn't about becoming suspicious or closed off toward others. It's about developing the wisdom to invest your emotional energy in relationships that genuinely support your growth and well-being, which creates space for the kind of deep appreciation and presence we'll explore next. 7. Turn every conversation into a precious memory. You're having coffee with your parent, half listening to a story you've heard several times before about their childhood neighborhood, when your phone buzzes with a work notification. You glance at the screen, respond to the message, and tune back into the conversation just as they're finishing their thought. Later that evening, you receive devastating news. They've been diagnosed with a serious illness that will significantly limit your time together. Suddenly, that boring story about their childhood becomes infinitely precious, and you desperately wish you could travel back to that coffee shop moment and give them your complete, undivided attention. This scenario illustrates one of the most profound teachings Marcus Aurelius developed about relationships: the practice of memento mori, or remembering death, applied specifically to our interactions with the people we love. But this isn't a morbid meditation designed to make you sad or anxious. Instead, it's a powerful tool for transforming ordinary conversations into extraordinary moments of connection and appreciation. Marcus Aurelius wrote one of the most haunting yet beautiful passages in all of Stoic literature when he described tucking his children into bed at night. He suggested that parents should quietly remind themselves they may not make it to the morning. This wasn't pessimistic thinking or fearful catastrophizing. It was a deliberate practice designed to help him fully appreciate the precious present moment he was sharing with his children. The emperor understood something that most people learn too late. We consistently take our relationships for granted because we unconsciously assume they'll continue indefinitely. We postpone deep conversations, delay expressions of love and appreciation, and give half-hearted attention to people who matter most to us because we believe there will always be more opportunities for meaningful connection in the future. This assumption creates a tragic paradox. The people closest to us, those whose loss would devastate us most completely, often receive the least intentional, focused attention in our daily interactions. We save our best listening skills for work colleagues, our most patient responses for strangers, and our most engaged presence for social media interactions, while treating our family members and closest friends as background characters in our personal drama. Marcus's memento mori practice offers a revolutionary solution to this problem. When you consciously acknowledge that any conversation could potentially be your last interaction with someone you care about, everything about how you show up to that conversation changes immediately. Your attention becomes laser-focused, your patience expands dramatically, and your appreciation for their unique personality and perspective deepens tremendously. Let's explore how this works practically in your daily relationships. Imagine you're having dinner with your romantic partner, and they're sharing details about their day at work. Normally, you might listen with half your attention while mentally planning tomorrow's schedule or thinking about problems you need to solve. But when you apply Marcus's teaching, when you consciously remember that this person you love won't be in your life forever, everything shifts. You begin noticing things you typically overlook. The specific way they gesture when explaining complex ideas, the subtle changes in their voice when they discuss different colleagues, the particular expressions that cross their face as they process their experiences. These details, which usually fade into background noise, suddenly become precious data about someone whose presence in your life is temporary and irreplaceable. This heightened awareness transforms not just how you listen, but how you respond. Instead of offering generic advice or distracted acknowledgments, you find yourself asking deeper questions, sharing more thoughtful insights, and expressing genuine curiosity about their inner experience. The result is conversations that feel more intimate, more satisfying, and more memorable for both of you. The practice becomes even more powerful when applied to challenging relationships or difficult conversations. When your aging parent repeats the same stories for the 10th time, remembering that their memory and presence are finite helps you listen with patience rather than irritation. When your teenager is sharing what seems like trivial social drama, acknowledging that these conversations are forming the foundation of your lifelong relationship helps you respond with engagement rather than dismissal. Marcus Aurelius learned this principle through painful personal experience. Throughout his reign, he lost close friends, advisors, and family members to illness, warfare, and the general fragility of human life. Each loss reinforced his understanding that the present moment with loved ones is the only guaranteed opportunity for connection and appreciation. The emperor also recognized that this practice creates a positive feedback loop in relationships. When you show up to conversations with genuine presence and appreciation, other people naturally respond with increased openness, warmth, and engagement. They can sense when someone is truly listening versus merely waiting for their turn to speak, and they instinctively share more of themselves with people who demonstrate genuine interest in their thoughts and experiences. Therefore, applying memento mori to your relationships doesn't just help you appreciate others more deeply. It actually makes you more attractive and compelling to be around, because people are naturally drawn to those who make them feel seen, heard, and valued. This practice transforms ordinary interactions into what Marcus called sacred moments, opportunities to witness and appreciate the unique humanity of people who won't be in your life forever, creating memories that will sustain and comfort you long after those relationships end. 8. Lead anyone without ever giving orders. You're in a team meeting where nothing is getting accomplished. Your colleagues are talking in circles, missing deadlines, and avoiding the difficult decisions that need to be made. You feel the urge to take charge, to start giving direct orders and telling everyone exactly what they should be doing. But every time you've tried that approach in the past, people have become defensive, resistant, or passive-aggressive. You know there has to be a better way to guide others toward positive action. But traditional command and control leadership feels both ineffective and exhausting. This frustration reveals one of the most counterintuitive truths that Marcus Aurelius discovered during his reign as the most powerful person in the ancient world. The less you try to control others directly, the more genuine influence you actually possess. Despite commanding legions of soldiers and governing millions of citizens, Marcus understood that true leadership operates through inspiration and example rather than force and commands. The foundation of this principle lies in a fundamental reality about human psychology that modern research has confirmed but ancient Stoics understood intuitively. People strongly resist being told what to do, even when the instructions are objectively beneficial. This resistance isn't defiance or stubbornness. It's a natural psychological defense mechanism that protects our sense of autonomy and personal agency. When someone gives you direct orders, part of your brain immediately starts looking for reasons to resist or ways to maintain your independence, even if following those orders would serve your own interests. Marcus Aurelius recognized this dynamic playing out constantly in the Roman Senate, military command structures, and provincial governments. He observed that the most effective leaders weren't those who issued the most commands or enforced the strictest rules. Instead, they were individuals whose character and decision-making inspired others to voluntarily adopt similar standards and approaches. This observation led Marcus to develop what we might call gravitational leadership, a style of influence that works like a planetary body attracting smaller objects through natural force rather than mechanical compulsion. Just as the sun doesn't have to chase the planets to keep them in orbit, effective leaders don't have to pursue or pressure people to gain their cooperation and respect. Consider how this principle manifests in your daily life. Think about the people whose opinions you value most highly and whose suggestions you're most likely to follow. These individuals probably don't spend much time telling you what you should do. Instead, they demonstrate through their own choices and behavior what effective living looks like, and you find yourself naturally wanting to emulate their approaches. The key insight here is that people are constantly observing and evaluating the results that different approaches to life produce. When they see someone who consistently makes thoughtful decisions, maintains emotional equilibrium under pressure, treats others with respect and fairness, and achieves meaningful goals without compromising their integrity, they naturally become curious about how that person thinks and operates. This curiosity creates what Marcus called the art of gentle persuasion, influence that works by attracting rather than pushing, by demonstrating rather than demanding. When people ask for your advice or input because they've observed positive patterns in your life, they're already predisposed to seriously consider and implement your suggestions. They're not resisting external control because they've initiated the interaction themselves. The practical application of this principle requires a fundamental shift in how you approach leadership situations. Instead of focusing on what you want others to do differently, you focus intensively on modeling the behavior and attitudes you'd like to see become more common in your environment. If you want your team to communicate more effectively, you must become exceptionally skilled at clear, thoughtful communication yourself. If you want your family members to show more patience with each other, you demonstrate remarkable patience in your own interactions. If you want your colleagues to take more initiative on projects, you consistently show initiative in areas where you have influence. This approach demands significantly more personal discipline than traditional command-style leadership, because you can't rely on external authority or position to create the changes you want to see. Instead, you must become the kind of person whose natural way of operating inspires others to elevate their own standards and approaches. Marcus Aurelius described this process as leading by magnetic example. He understood that his own behavior as emperor would be observed, discussed, and emulated throughout the Roman Empire, so he focused intensively on embodying the virtues and decision-making processes he wanted to see reflected in Roman society. The remarkable result of this approach is that it creates sustainable, internalized change in others rather than temporary compliance. When people adopt new behaviors because they've been inspired by someone they respect, those changes tend to persist even when that person isn't present to enforce them. They've been converted to a new way of thinking rather than merely following external rules. Furthermore, this style of leadership actually reduces your own stress and workload over time. Instead of constantly monitoring, correcting, and directing others' behavior, you invest your energy in your own growth and excellence, trusting that your example will naturally influence those around you to raise their own standards. Ultimately, mastering this approach to leadership teaches you the profound truth that the most powerful person in any relationship is often the one who needs the least from others, because their influence flows from internal strength rather than external position or control. 9. The only person you can control, and why that's actually enough. You're lying awake at 2 a.m., your mind racing with frustration about your teenage daughter's poor choices, your spouse's spending habits, and your coworker's lack of follow-through on important projects. You've tried everything: heartfelt conversations, logical arguments, emotional appeals, even threats and ultimatums. But these people continue making decisions that seem obviously wrong to you. The harder you try to influence their behavior, the more resistant they become, and the more powerless and exhausted you feel. You're caught in the exhausting cycle that traps millions of people, attempting to control what lies fundamentally outside your control. This scenario illustrates what Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher who began life as a slave, called the most important distinction any human being can learn: the difference between what is up to us and what is not up to us. Epictetus taught that this understanding, properly grasped and consistently applied, holds the key to genuine freedom, inner peace, and effective action in the world. Let's begin by examining why this principle feels so counterintuitive to most people. From childhood, we're taught to believe that we have far more control over our environment and other people than we actually possess. Parents tell us that good behavior will be rewarded and bad behavior punished. Teachers suggest that hard work guarantees success, and society implies that we can achieve any outcome through sufficient effort and determination. These messages, while well-intentioned, create a fundamental misunderstanding about how reality actually operates. They lead us to invest enormous amounts of mental and emotional energy trying to control outcomes that depend on factors completely outside our influence: other people's choices, economic conditions, natural events, and countless variables we can't even identify, let alone manage. Epictetus learned this lesson through the most direct experience possible. As a slave, he had virtually no control over his external circumstances: where he lived, what work he performed, how others treated him, or even whether he would live or die. Yet within these severely constrained conditions, he discovered something remarkable. There remained one domain where he possessed complete sovereignty, and that domain was sufficient to create a meaningful, fulfilling life. That domain consists of your thoughts, your choices, your responses, and your character development. These elements, and only these elements, remain entirely within your control regardless of what happens around you. Understanding this distinction isn't merely philosophical theory. It's practical wisdom that transforms how you approach every challenge and relationship in your life. Consider how this principle applies to your most frustrating relationship dynamics. When your teenager makes poor decisions, you cannot control their choices, but you can control your response. You can choose to respond with curiosity rather than anger, asking questions that help them think through consequences rather than lecturing them about obvious mistakes. You can control whether you maintain your own emotional equilibrium or allow their poor choices to derail your inner peace. When your spouse manages money differently than you prefer, you cannot control their spending patterns, but you can control your own financial behavior, your communication style when discussing money, and your decision about whether to maintain separate accounts or seek professional financial counseling. You can control whether you approach these conversations with blame and criticism or with collaborative problem-solving energy. When your coworker fails to follow through on commitments, you cannot control their work habits, but you can control how you plan projects to account for their unreliability, how you document agreements to protect yourself professionally, and whether you allow their behavior to create stress and resentment in your own work experience. This shift in focus from external control to internal control produces several profound benefits that compound over time. First, it dramatically reduces your stress and frustration levels because you stop expending energy on impossible tasks. When you accept that you cannot make other people behave differently, you immediately eliminate the anxiety, anger, and disappointment that come from repeatedly failing at an impossible goal. Second, focusing on what you can control actually increases your effectiveness in influencing others. When you stop trying to change people directly and instead focus on modeling the behavior you want to see, communicating clearly about your own needs and boundaries, and responding thoughtfully rather than reactively, others often respond more positively to your presence and input. Third, this approach builds genuine self-respect and confidence because you're investing your energy in areas where you can actually create meaningful change. Each time you choose a thoughtful response over an emotional reaction, each time you maintain your principles despite external pressure, each time you focus on your own growth rather than others' shortcomings, you strengthen your sense of personal agency and capability. Marcus Aurelius expressed this beautifully when he wrote that you always have the power to withdraw your attention from external disturbances and return it to your own thoughts, choices, and character development. This withdrawal isn't avoidance or disconnection from the world. It's a strategic focus on the domain where your efforts can actually produce results. Essentially, recognizing that you can only control yourself isn't a limitation to be endured, it's a liberation to be embraced, because mastering yourself turns out to be the most challenging, rewarding, and impactful project you could possibly undertake. Your new beginning, living these ancient secrets every day. You've just discovered 9 powerful principles that Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca used to master the art of human relationships over 2 millennia ago. These aren't merely historical curiosities or abstract philosophical concepts. They're practical tools that can transform every interaction you have from this moment forward. Think back to where we began this journey together. You learned that being strict with yourself while showing tolerance to others creates the foundation for all healthy relationships. You discovered how 5 minutes of morning reflection can connect you to the shared humanity of everyone you encounter. You explored how preparing for difficult people eliminates frustration and disappointment, while choosing your circle wisely shapes who you become. The ancient Stoics showed you that caring for strangers enhances your own well-being, that false friends reveal themselves through predictable patterns, and that every conversation becomes precious when viewed through the lens of mortality. You uncovered the secret of leading through example rather than commands, and finally grasped the liberating truth that controlling yourself is not only enough, it's everything. But here's what separates those who merely learn these concepts from those who experience genuine transformation. Consistent daily practice. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations as a philosophical treatise for others to admire. He wrote them as daily reminders to himself, because he understood that wisdom without practice remains merely intellectual entertainment. Starting tomorrow morning, choose one principle that resonated most strongly with you. Perhaps it's the 5-minute interconnectedness meditation, or the practice of preparing mentally for difficult people, or simply focusing your energy on what you can actually control. Commit to applying that single principle for the next 7 days, observing how it changes your relationships and your inner experience. Notice how your conversations feel different when you bring genuine presence and appreciation to them. Watch how your stress levels decrease when you stop trying to control others' behavior. Pay attention to how people respond differently to you when you lead through example rather than criticism or demands. After mastering one principle, gradually integrate the others into your daily routine. Remember, the Stoics developed these insights through years of practice and reflection. Be patient with yourself as you build these new mental habits, and celebrate small improvements rather than expecting immediate perfection. The path to mastering relationships through Stoic wisdom isn't just about improving your interactions with others. It's about becoming the kind of person whose character naturally attracts respect, trust, and genuine affection. It's about discovering that when you focus on controlling yourself rather than others, you paradoxically gain more positive influence than you ever thought possible. If this content has opened new possibilities for your relationships and personal growth, please subscribe to the Stoic Vivu channel for more life-changing wisdom from ancient philosophy. Like this video to help others discover these transformative principles, and share it with someone who could benefit from mastering the timeless art of human connection. Your journey toward relationship mastery begins today.